Morning sunlight streamed into the quiet residential neighborhood of Northbrook. In the kitchen of her modest yet refined single-family home, Jennifer Miller was preparing breakfast. The rich aroma wafting from the coffee maker filled the immaculately kept kitchen. White herb planters lined the countertop, a testament to the small joys she found in life. At 32, Jennifer had risen a bit earlier than usual to carefully prepare breakfast. Dressed in a simple theory dress, she glanced at the quietly ticking wall clock while arranging her shoulder-length brown hair. 6:45. Still plenty of time. Honey, toast is ready. The tableware, though not expensive, had been carefully selected and pleasantly arranged. The oatmeal was garnished with blueberries, and the whole wheat toast was perfectly golden and fragrant. Michael looked up from his newspaper and smiled warmly. "Thank you, Jenny. The toast is perfectly done, as always. Starting my day with your breakfast is the greatest happiness." Michael wore a modest navy suit. Though he held the title of senior vice president at an IT company, they were a couple who valued living honestly without putting on airs. Their morning time together was always peaceful and comfortable. Married for 5 years, they had built a relationship based on mutual understanding and respect. Just as Michael was about to take a sip of coffee, Jennifer's phone rang. The screen displayed "Dad. Dad? So early in the morning." Her father Robert's voice came through the receiver. Jennifer furrowed her brow at his unusually excited tone. "Jenny, tonight is our wedding anniversary. We've decided to have a family dinner at Lucille Blue. Could you come at 7:30? With Michael, of course." Jennifer hesitated for a moment at the mention of the upscale restaurant in Chicago's Gold Coast. Her parents' flashy lifestyle had always made her uncomfortable. Living in an oversized house in Winnetka, they put on unnecessary airs. Her mother Patricia, in particular, never missed a chance to flaunt their wealth, even in front of her daughters. As she wavered over her response, a message from her sister Ashley appeared on her smartphone. "Answer quickly. Are you planning to skip out on our parents' important anniversary again? How long are you going to keep being stubborn at your age?" Ashley held the title of sales director at their father's real estate company. Despite being in a position beyond her capabilities, she had increasingly taken to looking down on Jennifer. Jennifer sighed deeply and met Michael's eyes. Her husband nodded quietly, as if understanding her feelings. His eyes conveyed the message, "I support whatever decision you make." "All right, I'll come." With Michael. After hanging up, a faint anxiety sprouted in Jennifer's chest. However, her desire to maintain a good relationship with her parents overrode that anxiety. Everything was going well: her job as a senior HR manager in Chicago, her comfortable life with her husband. Only her relationship with her family weighed heavily on her heart. "Are you okay?" Michael asked gently. His gesture of cradling his coffee cup in both hands showed his thoughtfulness. "Yes, probably," Jennifer answered with a smile, but complex emotions flickered in her eyes. Dinner with her parents always felt like an ordeal. But tonight was special, their anniversary. Surely it would be a good time, she tried to convince herself as she returned to the breakfast table. Lucille Blue stood with dignity in a corner of Chicago's glittering Gold Coast. The restaurant, housed in a renovated historic building from the 1920s, exuded elegance with its cream-colored exterior walls and window frames trimmed in gold leaf. Located just off Michigan Avenue's bustle, it was known among Chicago's wealthy as the place to visit on special occasions. Getting a reservation at this establishment, famous for its lobster salad and prime ribeye steak, was no easy feat. The weather that day seemed somewhat ironic. A light rain that had started in the afternoon made the streetlight reflections shimmer on the sidewalk. As Jennifer stepped out of the taxi and walked toward the restaurant, she felt the rain in her own heart. 7:28 p.m. Jennifer placed her hand on the heavy brass handle. Her reflection in the glass door showed her wearing a deep blue cocktail dress. This dress, carefully chosen from Ann Taylor, was elegant without being flashy. Though Michael had called to say he'd be late due to work, she felt a strange sense of comfort. Her husband's presence always gave her strength. "Ms. Miller, welcome." Floor manager Andrew greeted her with a refined smile. His straight posture and perfectly arranged bow tie spoke to the restaurant's high standards. Every one of his gestures reflected years of experience. The crystal chandeliers cast soft light, creating delicate shadows on the marble floor. "Yes. I'm meeting my family. This way, please." Silver cutlery gleamed on white tablecloths. Chopin's Nocturne played quietly in the background. At surrounding tables, upper-class patrons enjoyed their elegant evening. As Andrew led her forward, Jennifer's heartbeat gradually quickened. Perhaps somewhere deep down, she sensed what was about to unfold. When she reached the table, the scene that greeted her was exactly as she had expected. Her parents and sister had already finished their meal. Empty main course plates lay carelessly on the table, and a $180 bottle of wine was nearly empty. Lobster shells and steak bones were arranged as if deliberately left behind. The remnants of a haphazard meal seemed out of place in the elegant restaurant. "Oh, Jenny." Her mother Patricia affected a refined smile. Dressed in a Chanel tweed jacket, she wore heavier makeup than usual. The pearl necklace at her throat caught the light with a glint. "You're late. You'll take care of the bill, won't you?" Jennifer immediately grasped the intention behind those words. Beside her, her father Robert wore a slightly uncomfortable expression. The once dignified face of the real estate company president now showed signs of fatigue. Though he wore an expensive suit, the fabric looked somewhat aged. The expensive watch on his left wrist seemed to have lost some of its former luster. Still as dim-witted as ever, showing up late. Ashley smirked with a malicious smile. Though she wore a dress from the department store's most expensive section, it was a bit too flashy for her age. She held the latest smartphone, placing it on the table as if to show it off. Jennifer quietly checked her watch. Exactly 7:30. The hands of her Rolex proved her perfect time management. At that moment, when she was certain a different time must have been recorded in the restaurant's reservation system, a cold anger spread through her heart. "I'd like to confirm the reservation time." Her voice was surprisingly calm. Though anger burned inside her, her expression remained frozen like ice. Andrew showed a confused expression. "Your reservation is..." "Could I speak with the manager?" With those words, the atmosphere at the table changed completely. Her mother's smile froze, and her father suddenly sat up straight. The color drained from her sister's face. Under the restaurant's lighting, the changes in their expressions were clearly visible. Conversation at nearby tables seemed to pause for a moment. Her mother's hand trembled slightly as she reached for her champagne glass. Her father unconsciously adjusted his tie, and her sister clutched her phone. The knuckles of Ashley's fingers had turned white. "The manager?" Andrew asked for confirmation. Tension ran beneath his professional smile. "Yes. Right now." Determination seeped through Jennifer's voice. The classical music flowing through the restaurant seemed to heighten the tension. Chopin's Nocturne played a melancholic melody, as if foreshadowing what was about to unfold. Outside the window, Chicago's nightscape glittered. The lights of skyscrapers shone quietly, as if watching over the events of the night. Headlights from cars passing along Michigan Avenue occasionally cast shadows on the table. Everyone seemed to be holding their breath, waiting for the beginning of this moment of truth. "My apologies for keeping you waiting." A refined voice cut through the tense air. Manager James Hartman appeared, standing perfectly straight. He was a veteran of the restaurant industry with over 30 years of experience. His graying hair was perfectly groomed, and his black tuxedo was immaculate. "Ms. Miller, is there something we can assist you with?" Jennifer smiled politely. "No, I just wanted to confirm the reservation time." At that moment, the restaurant's heavy doors opened, and a new presence joined the scene. "Father-in-law, good evening. I happened to be passing by." Michael approached the table with confidence. Though he wore the same navy suit he had worn at work during the day, somehow now it radiated a special presence. "Michael." Robert's voice trembled. Manager Hartman's expression changed in an instant. "Mr. Miller. We've been expecting you." Everyone at the table noticed the change in tone of his voice. The manager's attitude toward Michael was clearly special. "Let me check the system," Hartman said, taking out a tablet. "The Wilson party's reservation for today was for 6 p.m. "What?" Ashley exclaimed involuntarily. "And we had special instructions for Ms. Miller to arrive at 7:30 p.m. The color drained from Patricia's face. Robert sank deep into his chair. Michael spoke quietly. "There are some matters I'd like to confirm at our restaurant." "Your restaurant?" Ashley's voice cracked. "Michael's just an IT company employee, isn't he?" Her sister's words rang hollow. Michael smiled quietly. His expression carried a dignity he had never shown before. Manager Hartman operated his tablet with even more deference. According to today's reservation records, the Wilson party arrived at 6 p.m. They enjoyed the main course of lobster salad, prime ribeye steak, and creme brulee for dessert. Each of Hartman's words revealed the deliberate separation of dining times. The empty plates on the table now looked like evidence. All meals were completed by 7:15 p.m. The chandelier light illuminated the dishes on the table. That light seemed like a spotlight revealing the truth. The manager's words carried a slight hint of irony. Michael slowly approached the table and stood beside Jennifer. His presence was like that of a guardian. "Actually, Lucille Blue is." His words were about to open a new door of truth. The air in the restaurant seemed to still, waiting for that moment. Chopin's Nocturne had somehow changed to a different piece. A deeper, heavier melody heightened the tension in the room. Outside the window, Chicago's nightscape seemed to shine even brighter. The candlelight and brass candlesticks flickered slightly on the table, as if anticipating the truth about to be revealed. Manager Hartman maintained his perfect composure cultivated through years of experience, though his eyes watched the unfolding situation with interest. He had witnessed many dramas in this restaurant, but tonight's development promised to be special even for him. Patricia could no longer maintain her affected smile and gripped her handbag tightly with trembling hands. Robert remained frozen as if time had stopped. Ashley stared at her smartphone screen as if seeking escape, but her fingers were clearly shaking. And in Jennifer's eyes shone a quiet determination. The long-standing conflict with her family was finally approaching resolution. Michael's presence gave her great comfort. "Shall I explain?" Michael's voice announced the beginning of truth. Lucille Blue is the flagship restaurant of the Chicago Restaurant Group. Michael's quiet voice resonated through the grand dining room. "And this group is one of the companies I manage." At those words, the Wilson family members froze in place. "You're joking, right?" Ashley said in a trembling voice. "But you're just an IT company." "A senior vice president at an IT company, you mean?" Michael smiled gently. "That's true, but it's only part of my business." Manager Hartman respectfully added, "Mr. Miller operates 5 upscale restaurants in Chicago. All of them have earned Michelin stars." Michael placed his hand gently on his wife's shoulder. "And the primary shareholder of this restaurant group is Jennifer." Patricia's hand holding the champagne glass shook violently. "But why?" Robert's voice was hoarse. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Because we didn't think it was necessary to show off," Jennifer answered quietly. "Family bonds shouldn't be measured by money or social status." At that moment, Robert's large frame suddenly collapsed from the table, sliding into a deep bow on the floor. "I'm sorry. I'm so terribly sorry." His voice trembled with tears. The sight of a 65-year-old man in an expensive suit suddenly prostrating himself caused a small stir at surrounding tables. The company is in trouble. Since the 2008 real estate crisis, we've been carrying debt, but I couldn't tell anyone. My pride, this cursed pride." Patricia's makeup began to run with tears. We could only keep putting on airs. We were afraid of what others would think, thought we had to maintain our social status." "Father," Michael's voice was surprisingly gentle. "Why didn't you come to us for help?" At those words, Ashley suddenly stood up. Tears were flowing from her eyes. "It's my fault, it's because of my failures in sales." Her voice was emotional. "I only closed 1 deal in 2 years. But Father still made me sales director." "Ashley." Jennifer called her sister's name. "I'm sorry for looking down on you, sis." Ashley's words poured out like a broken dam. "You always worked your way up on your own, but I. Her voice turned to sobs. Chanel mascara ran black down her cheeks. "I was always jealous of your capabilities, your happy marriage, everything. That's why I was so mean." The restaurant's background music had changed to a Tchaikovsky melody. Its melancholic tune added deep emotion to the family's confession scene. Jennifer slowly stood up. Her blue dress sparkled in the chandelier light. "Mom, Dad, please raise your heads." Her voice held both strength and gentleness. "I won't blame you for your past behavior. But I want things to change from now on." Her parents hesitantly raised their faces. "Let's build real family bonds, not based on appearances or pretense," Jennifer continued. "I'll let this incident go." Michael nodded quietly. "Father, I'll introduce you to some specialists regarding your company. I believe rebuilding is possible." "But," Jennifer's voice grew slightly stern, "we need to reconsider our family relationships from now on." Ashley wiped her eyes nervously. "Let's interact honestly, without lies or pretense. That's what real family means." Outside the window, a full moon shone in Chicago's night sky. The restaurant lighting had been slightly dimmed, and the candlelight at each table felt warmer than ever. Manager Hartman watched this dramatic scene while maintaining a respectful distance. Even in his long career, he had rarely witnessed such a moving sight. Robert slowly shifted to a formal sitting position. His eyes held a sincere light that had never been seen before. "Jenny, thank you, truly." Patricia nodded repeatedly while wiping tears with a handkerchief from her handbag. She no longer seemed to care that her expensive makeup was ruined. Ashley took a step toward her sister. "From now on?" As her sister struggled for words, Jennifer gently embraced her. "Yes, from now on. Let's walk forward as true sisters." Michael watched the scene with warm eyes. Then he signaled to a waiter. "Shall we have a proper toast tonight?" "As a real family." The newly brought champagne sparkled golden in the glasses, as if celebrating the family's new beginning. Early winter in Chicago. Soft snow was falling in the quiet residential neighborhood of Northbrook. 6 months had passed. The warmth of the fireplace filled Jennifer's living room. Though the Christmas tree wasn't yet decorated, a small wreath on the window subtly marked the season's arrival. "Dad, please check these documents." Robert adjusted his reading glasses as he reviewed the papers. The rebuilding of his company was progressing steadily with support from the specialists Michael had introduced. The loan refinancing was complete, and new projects were gradually increasing. "Thank you, Jenny." "Thanks to you all." His voice had lost its former intimidating tone. Instead, it carried sincere gratitude. Simple but heartfelt sandwiches were arranged on the table. "Oh my, is it that time already?" Patricia poked her head out from the kitchen. She was wearing an apron now, an image that would have been unimaginable before. Her expensive jewelry had become more modest, replaced by a warm smile adorning her face. "I tried baking cookies. Using the recipe Jenny taught me." The vanilla aroma filled the entire room. She had found new joy in a modest life. They had sold their big house in Winnetka and now lived a practical life in a reasonably sized condominium. "I'll help." Ashley hurried toward the kitchen. She had resigned from her father's company and was now studying to get her real estate license. Like her sister, she was trying to work her way up on her own merit. Oh, but before that, she stopped and took out her smartphone. "I checked today's exam results." The room's atmosphere tensed for a moment. "I passed." Tears glistened in Ashley's eyes. It was proof of the first achievement she had earned through her own efforts. Congratulations. Jennifer embraced her sister with a genuine smile. It's all thanks to you, sis. You were always there encouraging me. The sisters' relationship had changed dramatically over these 6 months. Their rivalry had disappeared, replaced by mutual care and understanding. "Where's Michael?" her father asked. His voice no longer carried its former tension. "He'll be home soon. He said he could leave early today." Jennifer sat in the chair by the fireplace. She gently placed her hand on her still barely noticeable belly, quietly feeling the pulse of new life. "Actually, I have something to tell everyone." Just then, the doorbell rang. "I'm home," Michael came in, brushing off snow. He carried a small Christmas tree in his arms. "Honey, is that? I thought we could decorate it together, as a family." Michael stood next to Jennifer in the living room lit by warm light. They looked at each other and nodded slightly. "Everyone," Jennifer began slowly, "we are going to have a baby." After a moment of silence, the room burst with joy. "Oh my." Mother clasped her hands to her mouth. "Jenny." Father's voice trembled with emotion. "Sis." Ashley rushed to her sister again. The scent of cookies, warmth from the fireplace, family smiles, everything seemed to be celebrating this moment. "The due date is next summer," Michael added. "As a new member of our family." "That's wonderful," tears sparkled in Mother's eyes. This time we can truly be a real family." Father nodded deeply in silence. His expression showed a peaceful happiness never seen before. Ashley looked at her sister's belly with a gentle smile. "I'm going to be the best aunt ever. I promise." Outside, snow continued to fall quietly, as if gently covering the wounds of the past. As if blessing the beginning of this new family's story. Jennifer looked at each family member's face. The former pretense and vanity had faded, replaced by genuine bonds. These 6 months might have been the most meaningful time in her life. "Well then," she stood up. "Let's start decorating the Christmas tree. As our first memory with our new family." Michael set up the tree, Mother brought the cookies, Ashley opened the box of ornaments. Father added wood to the fireplace. The room was filled with happy air. In contrast to the cold outside, a heartwarming atmosphere prevailed. This was what a real family looked like. Not money, not status. It was about caring for and supporting each other. Jennifer was certain that this was the true form of family. The fireplace flames flickered quietly. Their light seemed to gently illuminate the new family's journey forward.